Hi, welcome back to another episode of The Next Move with Valetax. My name is Innocent, market analyst and trading content specialist here at Valetax. As always, we're going to be sharing trade ideas and analyzing the fundamentals that could be affecting the market ahead for the week. But before we get started, let's do a quick recap on the following trade ideas that were shared last week: the XAUUSD and the EURUSD. On the XAUUSD, we had a trade idea for a possible correction before the continuation of the sells on the XAUUSD. We did in fact see the buyers come into the market, pushing prices to the 4,135 levels before the sell continued, and prices currently are at the 4,065 levels for the XAUUSD. And on the EURUSD, we were expecting a continuation of the bear momentum from the 1.16 levels, and we finally saw the bears come into the market, take advantage of the market, and finally still in position, with prices currently sitting at the 1.15 levels. And moving along for the week, we're going to be sharing trade ideas on the XAUUSD and the AUDUSD. For the XAUUSD for this week, we're expecting to see a continuation of the sells, but that would only be possible if we can finally get a full break below the 4,000 levels. A break below the 4,000 levels could most likely send the XAUUSD crying back to the 3,985 levels, and a break below that level, which is a monthly level from October, could finally let us see a huge downfall for a full-blown correction for the XAUUSD, with our targets looking at the 3,700 levels, the 3,600, and deeper levels as the 3,500 levels. For the AUDUSD moving on for the week, we see that prices have finally broken the trend line on the daily time frame at the 0.64500 levels, and a possible retest currently happening at the close of the market for last week. If we continue to see this bearish momentum come in on the AUDUSD and a close break below the 0.6400 levels, then we most likely would be getting the sell-offs back to the 0.63, 0.62, and deeper levels such as the 0.61 levels. A strategic point for the XAUUSD and the AUDUSD would be the strength of the DXY, which is the dollar index. With a high number of jobs report from last week, during the NFP, we see the dollar continue to gain momentum and strength towards the end of the year. And if this strength and momentum continues with further fundamentals that could be released this week, then we might continue to see the DXY soar and XAUUSD continue to retrace, and possible continuation for the corrections currently going on the AUDUSD as well. And talking about fundamentals, here are the high impact news that you should be seated and focused on for this week. On Tuesday this week, we're going to be expecting the Core PPI, core retail sales, and the consumer confidence for the USD. And on Thursday, closing out the high impact news for the USD, we're going to be expecting to get the core PCE, the GDP, and unemployment claims for the USD. And on that note, the summary for this week trade idea is a continuation of the sells for the XAUUSD if prices does close below the 4,050 levels, and a continuation of the sells on the AUDUSD with a strong close below the 0.6400 levels. And don't forget, this is only a trade idea and not a trading signal with no guarantee for success. Remember to always do your own research, apply risk management where necessary, and trade carefully during high impact news in the market. And until next time, I would see you at the same time, same place on The Next Move with Valetax. Trade carefully and trade with the best broker, Valetax.